Okay, you guys, listen. Klay Thompson finally cracked open his mouth about the Megan Thee Stallion breakup, and I promise you on everything I love, this update is going to change every single thing you thought you knew about who the villain was in this situationship. Klay's team, allegedly, ran to the Daily Mail and tried to assassinate Megan's whole character in print, and what came out the other side is one of the most embarrassing self-snitch confessions I've ever read in my entire commentary career. We pulled up the receipts. We pulled up the article. We pulled up the body language. We pulled up the patterns. And by the end of this video, I guarantee your mouth is going to be on the floor, because Klay Thompson didn't just break a silence. Klay Thompson broke the entire mask off his own face, and Klay Thompson didn't even realize Klay Thompson was the one holding the camera. So let me set this up for the people in the back. Megan Thee Stallion went on her Instagram stories a little while back and called Klay Thompson out for cheating. Not subtweet. Not riddles. Not a vague little caption with a butterfly emoji. Megan said it plain: cheater, mood swings, horrible treatment during basketball season, holding it down through all of it, and now Klay Thompson wants to act like monogamy is a foreign language. Megan said peace, signed the lease back to herself, and bounced. That was the surface. That was the headline. That was the part the algorithm chewed up and spit into everybody's For You page. But what nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for was the article that dropped right after, because Klay Thompson's camp decided the smartest play was to leak a so-called insider account about how awful Megan supposedly was behind closed doors. And here's the part where my eyebrow lifted so high, it left my forehead entirely. Because the second I started reading, I realized this wasn't Megan being exposed. This was Klay Thompson confessing in third person. Let me walk you through it, because the receipts deserve a slow read. The article claims, through a source quote-unquote close to Klay Thompson, that Klay Thompson was over Megan, that Klay Thompson wanted out, that Klay Thompson thought Megan was too loud, too ghetto, too much. The article says Klay Thompson, a 40-year-old grown man with multi-generational money and a private plane parked somewhere collecting dust, didn't know how to break up with a woman. So instead of using basic adult human words, Klay Thompson allegedly slid into the DMs of past flings. Allegedly. A second source even tried to clean it up and said Klay Thompson never once tried to end the relationship, which means one of two things. Either Klay Thompson is a coward who couldn't speak, or Klay Thompson is a liar whose own people can't keep the story straight. Pick a lane, sir. The lane you're driving in right now has potholes the size of your insecurities. Now hear me out, because this is where the script flips. The whole purpose of this leak was to paint Megan as the problem, but watch what Klay Thompson's people actually admitted on the record. They admitted Klay Thompson talked badly about Megan behind Megan's back. They admitted Klay Thompson secretly mocked the way Megan spoke. They admitted Klay Thompson resented Megan for being loud at Megan's own foundation gala, in Megan's own room, surrounded by Megan's own guests, raising money for Megan's own charity. Let that marinate. Klay Thompson sat at that table looking stiff as a frozen mannequin while Megan was lighting the room up, and then Klay Thompson had the nerve to go home and complain that Megan was too much. Sir, the seat you were occupying was being paid for by the woman you were embarrassed of. That is not a personality difference. That is a man who never deserved the invitation. Now let me back up for a second and zoom in on the timing, because timing in a smear campaign is everything, and Klay Thompson's team fumbled the timing like a rookie running a 2-minute drill. Megan dropped the cheater story in April. That gave Klay Thompson's camp weeks, maybe months, to build a real response. A real response would have looked like accountability. A real response would have sounded like reflection. A real response would have included silence, growth, and maybe a quiet charitable gesture to show character in action instead of character in print. Instead, Klay Thompson's team waited just long enough for the conversation to cool, and then dropped the article right as Megan was rumored to be readying a fresh wave of receipts. That is not coincidence. That is a preemptive strike, and a preemptive strike only makes sense when the person striking knows there is more about to come out. So ask yourself, what does Klay Thompson know that Klay Thompson is trying to bury under a press release? Because nobody runs a counter-narrative this aggressively unless the original narrative is dangerously close to being proven true. And listen, the word ghetto, that word right there, that is the tell. Pay attention to this detail because it is the entire case in one syllable. When a certain kind of man wants to dehumanize a black woman, the first dart he throws is ghetto. Not loud, not bold, not expressive. Ghetto. Because ghetto is the code word that lets him pretend his discomfort is cultural and not personal, that his rejection is taste and not bias. Klay Thompson allegedly said Megan was so ghetto. Klay Thompson was almost over the ghetto-ness. Almost. Like Megan is a flavor of yogurt. Klay Thompson is trying to finish before the expiration date. Megan Thee Stallion is from Houston. Megan talks like Houston. Megan walks like Houston. Megan raps like Houston. Megan built an empire sounding exactly like the woman Megan is, and Klay Thompson knew that on day one. You don't get to pick a hot girl off the menu and then send her back to the kitchen for being seasoned. Here's the part that really exposed the trick. The article tried to frame Klay Thompson as introverted. Introverted. Klay Thompson. The same Klay Thompson who broke out into a full grin on a boat screaming about being back on the boat like a kid who just found a new toy. The same Klay Thompson who shoots threes in front of 20,000 screaming people for a living. That man is not introverted. That man is selectively quiet, and selectively quiet is a strategy, not a personality. Selectively quiet is what cheaters use to hide receipts. Selectively quiet is the silence that lets a man date one of the most famous women on the planet in public while allegedly texting old flings in private. Don't let the marketing fool you. The introvert label is a costume. Klay Thompson is loud when Klay Thompson wants attention and silent when Klay Thompson wants cover, and the article basically confirms that with its own clumsy fingerprints. Now let me drop the angle nobody else is touching because everybody's been looking at this like a celebrity breakup. Wrong frame. This is not a breakup story. This is a public relations heist gone catastrophically wrong, and Klay Thompson's own crew is the getaway driver who forgot to put gas in the car.
Think about it.
Megan goes on Instagram in April, drops the cheater bomb, and the internet runs with Megan's narrative for weeks. Klay Thompson stays quiet, lets the dust settle, regroups, and then suddenly a polished, anonymously sourced, multi-paragraph hit piece drops in the Daily Mail dressed up like neutral reporting. That is not journalism. That is a press release in a trench coat. And the reason the trench coat slipped open is because the people writing it forgot one critical rule of damage control. You cannot run a smear campaign against a woman by listing her job, her hustle, her foundation, and her travel schedule, and expect the audience to walk away thinking Megan is the bad one. You just gave Megan a resume. You just gave Megan a victory lap. You just told the world Megan was busy building while Klay Thompson was busy resenting Megan for not sitting still long enough to be controlled.
Pause.
Because this is the moment a lot of people miss. Klay Thompson's source said Klay Thompson felt lonely in the big multi-million-dollar house Klay Thompson bought for the relationship. Lonely. In a mansion. With a private plane in the driveway. While dating an international superstar whose schedule was public information from the second the relationship went public.
Boo.
Who? You bought a house too big for your actual emotional capacity, and then you blamed the woman for not shrinking herself to fit inside it. That is not loneliness. That is unmet entitlement wearing a sad face. Megan was never going to be a stay-at-home situation. Megan never pretended to be. Megan put it in the contract from the door. And Klay Thompson signed, allegedly, because Klay Thompson liked the idea of Megan, the photo opportunity of Megan, the headline of Megan, but Klay Thompson did not actually want to date the woman Megan is. Klay Thompson wanted a trophy that came home on time. Megan is not a trophy. Megan is the entire tournament. And let me underline one more thing for the people who keep saying money should have kept Megan in place. Money is a tool. Money is not a leash. Megan has Megan's own money. Megan has Megan's own touring revenue. Megan has Megan's own publishing splits. Megan has Megan's own brand deals. Megan has Megan's own residuals, sync licenses, and merchandise lines stacking quietly in the background while everybody is busy debating Klay Thompson's bank account. When a woman can write the check for the dinner Megan is being disrespected at, the dinner loses all of its leverage. That is the part the comment section misses every single time. The men screaming Klay Thompson is the prize have never paused to consider that the prize only matters to a person who needs the prize. Megan does not need the prize. Megan is the prize, the venue, the trophy case, and the ribbon. Let me read between the lines one more time, because the article is screaming if you know how to listen. The source describes Klay Thompson as wanting marriage and kids.
Cute. Wholesome.
Family man arc. But put it next to the alleged texts to old flings, the alleged disdain for Meghan's voice, the alleged complaints about Meghan being too much, and a very different picture forms. Klay Thompson didn't want marriage and kids with Megan Thee Stallion. Klay Thompson wanted marriage and kids with the version of Megan Klay Thompson could quiet down. Klay Thompson wanted the package, not the person. Klay Thompson wanted the Chloe of it all. Klay Thompson wanted a partner Klay Thompson could publicly love and privately diminish, and Megan said no thank you. The kitchen is closed. Please tip your waitress on the way out. That is the real story. That is the part the Daily Mail couldn't dress up no matter how many quote-unquote sources they stacked on top of it. And let's address the elephant on the bench. Multiple engagements. Multiple. Klay Thompson, at 40, has reportedly been engaged more times than most people have been promoted, and somehow none of those engagements crossed the finish line. Now you can tell me that's coincidence, or you can tell me that's a pattern, but I'm a grown woman with a working frontal lobe, and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a pattern. It's the same movie with different lead actresses, and the credits always roll on cheating, distance, or sudden cold feet. Meghan is not the first woman to get the silent treatment from this man. Meghan is just the first woman with enough platform, enough receipts, and enough self-respect to put it on the marquee. The other women got dignity in private. Meghan got a megaphone and Meghan used it, and now Klay Thompson is mad the megaphone is louder than the leak. Let me say the quiet part out loud, because I owe you the truth, not the polite version. The reason this story matters beyond Meghan and beyond Klay Thompson is that it is a case study in how Black women get character assassinated the second Black women stop performing patience. Meghan was patient. Meghan held it down through the mood swings. Meghan held it down through the basketball season. Meghan held it down through what Meghan described as horrible treatment. And the moment Meghan stopped holding, the moment Meghan dropped the rope and said I'm out, the press machine cranked up to repackage Meghan as the loud one, the ghetto one, the too much one. That is the oldest trick in the book, and the book is older than all of us. The script is so old it has cobwebs on the cover. Don't fall for it. Don't let a man with a fragile ego rewrite a woman's entire history because Klay Thompson can't admit Klay Thompson is the common denominator in every failed relationship Klay Thompson has ever had. Now, here is where I want you to lean in because I'm about to give you the part nobody on this app is talking about. The smartest move Meghan could make right now is not a clapback. The smartest move Meghan could make is geographic. I'm serious. Meghan needs to take Meghan's whole show overseas because in America, a certain flavor of man with a certain flavor of internalized issue will always reach for the word ghetto when Meghan walks in the room. But outside of the American racial pressure cooker, that same energy, that same volume, that same Houston shine, reads completely differently. It reads as life. It reads as charisma. It reads as star power. Look at how the world received Cardi B outside of these borders. Look at how Black American culture gets celebrated overseas when the culture isn't being recycled through the Kardashian filter first. Meghan is a global product trapped in a domestic argument. The argument is small. The product is huge. Meghan should let the argument shrink and let the product grow. Back to Klay Thompson, because I'm not done. The article tried to soften the blow by saying Klay Thompson eventually developed real feelings. Real feelings. After the alleged trash talk. After the alleged texts. After the alleged complaints about Meghan being too loud at Meghan's own party. Sir, those are not real feelings. Those are the feelings a man develops when the woman finally pulls away and Klay Thompson realizes the algorithm of attention is no longer rotating in Klay Thompson's favor. That's not love. That's withdrawal. That's the panic of a man who confused availability with affection and now has to face the fact that the woman Klay Thompson undervalued is about to be valued, and rightly so, by the entire planet. Meghan is not coming back. Meghan is not spinning the block. Meghan does not do retrograde. The block is closed. The construction signs are up. Detour. Let me drop one more receipt, and then I want you to sit with it. Multiple people, not just Meghan, have noticed Klay Thompson's stiffness in public with Meghan. The viral clip from the foundation gala. The body language at red carpets. The energy at Meghan's events that always read like Klay Thompson was clocking in for a shift Klay Thompson didn't want. That's not introversion. That's discomfort. That's a man who didn't want to be seen celebrating a woman Klay Thompson was privately tearing down. And the camera doesn't lie. The camera never lies. The camera caught everything in slow motion, frame by frame, and now that the article is filled in the audio, every clip suddenly makes sense in a way the clips never did before. The cold shoulder, the stiff nods, the polite but pained smile. That wasn't shyness. That was guilt with a publicist. Here's the part where I get tender for a second, because I don't want this video to be all jabs. Megan, if Megan ever stumbles across this, I want Megan to know something. The same loudness Klay Thompson allegedly resented is the loudness that built Megan's empire. The same Houston in Megan's voice is the same Houston in Megan's bank account. The same energy that allegedly embarrassed a stiff man at a stiff table is the same energy that made millions of women feel hot, free, fearless, and unstoppable on summer nights when summer felt impossible. Don't shrink. Don't soften. Don't sand down a single edge. The edges are the entire reason the world knows Megan's name. Klay Thompson met Megan as a finished product and tried to send Megan back to the factory for adjustments. Megan is not under warranty. Megan was perfect the day Megan stepped on the scene. And to the men who are about to flood the comments saying Megan should have held more, hidden more, protected the ego more, save it. Save the speech. Save the lecture about how a good woman absorbs humiliation in silence. Megan tried that lane. Megan walked that lane. Megan paved that lane with concrete and rosewater. The lane led to a cheating allegation and a smear piece. So Megan is now switching highways, and Megan is doing it in heels, with a foundation, with a Broadway credit, with a discography, with a fan base, and with the receipts. The audacity of asking a self-made woman to dim Megan's own light, so a 40-year-old man with a recurring engagement habit can feel like the brightest thing in the room is, frankly, comedy. And one more thing for the road, because the folks in the back keep asking the same question.
Why now?
Why this article? Why this exact week? The answer is simple, and the answer is loud. Because Klay Thompson team felt Megan moving, felt Megan recording, felt Megan prepping. And panic is a terrible ghostwriter for a press release. Let me bring it home, because we've been at this a while, and I want to leave you with the through line. Klay Thompson's silence break wasn't a defense. Klay Thompson's silence break was a self-portrait, painted in cowardice, framed in vanity, and hung in a tabloid for everyone to see. Every quote Klay Thompson's team leaked confirmed Megan's original story. The mood swings, the mistreatment, the cheating energy, the discomfort with a woman who outshined Klay Thompson at Klay Thompson's own dinner table. The article didn't clear Klay Thompson's name. The article carved Klay Thompson's name onto a tombstone of bad PR, and the headstone reads exactly what Megan said the headstone would read months ago, in plain English, on a Tuesday on Instagram for free. So here's where I leave you tonight, and I want you to actually answer me, not just scroll. If Klay Thompson really wanted to win this narrative, Klay Thompson had two clean options. Apologize publicly and grow privately. Or stay quiet entirely and let time blur the edges. Klay Thompson picked option 3, which was to whisper to a tabloid and call it strategy. That is not strategy. That is sabotage in slow motion. And I think, deep down, Klay Thompson knows it. Because the loudest part of this entire saga, the part that is going to echo for years, is not Megan's Instagram story. It is the article Klay Thompson's own team allegedly commissioned to defend Klay Thompson, only to accidentally indict Klay Thompson on every charge Megan ever filed in the court of public opinion. I have so much more to say. There is a part 2 of this article I have not even touched yet, and, trust me, it gets worse before it gets better. I'm going to be live later on tonight to break down the rest of the receipts, the rest of the patterns, and the rest of the silence behind the silence.
Tap in.
Bring snacks. Bring your group chat.
Tell your auntie.
Because by the time we're done, Klay Thompson is going to wish Klay Thompson never told Klay Thompson's team to pick up that pen. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Was Klay Thompson the villain all along, or did Klay Thompson stumble into it? Drop a 1 if Megan was right from day one. Drop a 2 if Klay Thompson still has a chance to clean it up. And drop a 3 if you, like me, already knew the answer the moment Klay Thompson sat stiff at that gala table looking like a coat rack in a tuxedo. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.